Hey, Chiefs Kingdom! Let's get straight to it. Has Chris Jones played his last snap in Kansas City? Sounds crazy, right? Well, according to a new rumor, some people think the Chiefs should trade one of the most dominant defensive players in franchise history. Yeah, you heard that, right? This all started with an article from USA Today suggesting that now is the time to move on from Jones. Their argument? He's 31 next season, and while he's still a force on the field, his sack numbers dipped in. 2024. They also claim that trading him would clear up nearly $11 million in cap space, even though it would also mean taking a $24 million dead cap hit. Wait. Oh, so they think Kansas City should pay millions just to let Chris Jones play somewhere else? How does that make sense? Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think the Chiefs should even consider trading Chris Jones? Let's make this interactive. Vote in the comments. Type Y if you think Kansas City should trade him, or N if you want to keep him in a Chiefs uniform where he belongs. And hey, if you believe Chris Jones should stay, do me a favor. Hit that like button right now. Let's make it loud and clear that Chiefs Kingdom wants him in KC. But before you answer, let's break this down properly. Is this really the best move for the team? Would Kansas City actually benefit from moving on? Stick with me, because in the next part, we're going to dive into why trading Chris Jones would be a massive mistake for the Chiefs. Alright, let's be real. Trading Chris Jones would be a terrible idea, and I'm about to tell you exactly why. First, let's talk about his impact on the defense. The Chiefs' defensive success in recent years has been built around Jones. He's not just a pass rusher, he's the heart of this defense. He demands double teams on almost every snap, freeing up his teammates to make plays. Without him, this pass rush would take a major hit. Now, let's break down the financial side. Yes, trading Jones would free up $11 million in cap space, but at what cost? The Chiefs would also take on a $24 million dead cap hit. That means they'd be paying him not to play for them. Does that sound smart to you? It's like throwing money away just to make the team worse. Some people might compare this to when the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill, but let's be clear, that situation was completely different. Hill was a luxury in an offense led by Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs had a plan to replace him with multiple weapons, but there's no replacing Chris Jones. He's a unique talent, and the defense is built around him. Now, I know some people will point to his sack numbers in 2024. Only 5 sacks, the lowest since his rookie season, but stats don't tell the whole story. Jones was still a dominant force, constantly disrupting plays, taking on double teams, and making life easier for everyone else. Football isn't just about counting sacks, it's about impact. And if there's any doubt about where Jones stands on this, just look at his speech during the Super Bowl parade last year. He made it clear. He loves Kansas City, and he wants to retire as a Chief. That's the kind of player you fight to keep, not the one you push out the door. Now, let's settle this. Do you think Chris Jones is still the key to the Chiefs' defense? Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you believe he's still a dominant force. But wait, there's more. Let's go even deeper into why Chris Jones is irreplaceable. His resume, his legacy, and his real value to this franchise. That's coming up next. Alright, let's talk facts. Forget the rumors, forget the hot takes. Chris Jones is more than just a defensive tackle. He's a legend in the making. Let's break it down. 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, NFL record holder for the most consecutive games with a sack. That's not just a good career. That's a Hall of Fame resume. Jones isn't just another great player. He's part of the core that built this Chiefs dynasty. Think about it. Mahomes, Kelce, Reed, Jones. These 4 have defined an era of dominance in Kansas City. You don't break that up unless you absolutely have to. Now, let's talk about the numbers that really matter. Forget the sack totals. Those don't tell the full story. Let's look at Pro Football Focus PFF, which grades players on their overall impact. Overall defensive grade, 90.2 pass rush grade, 91.5 run defense grade, 64.0 tackling grade, 67.5. And here's the big one, PFF ranked Chris Jones as the 8th best player in the entire NFL last season. Not just among defensive linemen, not just in the AFC, the entire league. Let me ask you this. Are the Chiefs really about to let a top 10 player in the NFL walk out the door? And let's not forget the double teams, the attention he draws. That's what opens things up for his teammates. He makes everyone around him better. So here's a question for you. Will Chris Jones retire as a Chief? Type Y for yes or N for no in the comments. Coming up next, we'll take a hard look at what happens if the Chiefs actually do move on from Jones. How much would the defense suffer? Could the team survive without him? Stick around because things are about to get real. Alright, let's imagine for a second that the Chiefs actually trade Chris Jones. What happens next? The first thing to look at is the pass rush. The Chiefs' defense in 2024 had some serious struggles getting to the quarterback. Yeah, they improved later in the season, especially when Charles Omenihu got healthy. But for most of the year, they were just middle of the pack. Kansas City's sack rate? 15th in the league, right in the middle at 7.23%. Now let's remove Chris Jones from the equation. Do you think that number goes up or down? Spoiler alert, it's going down and fast. It's not just about the sacks either. Jones commands double teams almost every snap. That means other guys get easier matchups. If he's gone, suddenly everyone on the D-line has a harder job. Let me ask you, do you really think this defense gets better without Jones? Because that's the gamble here. Now, here's the other issue. If not Jones, then who? We know the Chiefs have salary cap challenges. Someone might have to be traded. But if it's not Jones, who should it be? Should they move on from a younger guy with a long future ahead? Or a veteran who's reaching the end of their prime? Drop a name in the comments. Who do you think the Chiefs should trade instead? One thing's for sure, this defense without Jones would not be the same. And with the AFC getting tougher every year, you can't afford to weaken your biggest strength. Now, let's talk about the future. What's next for Jones? What's next for the Chiefs? Stick around, because we're about to wrap it all up. So what happens now? Chris Jones is heading into year 2 of his 5-year, $58.75 million contract. Yeah, it's a big number, but let's be real. He's worth every penny. The Chiefs knew exactly what they were doing when they signed him. Some people like to throw around the old Bill Belichick philosophy, that it's better to move on from a player a year too early than a year too late. And yeah, that makes sense in some cases. But this isn't one of them. We're not talking about just any player. We're talking about a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a future Hall of Famer, and the heart of the Chiefs defense. If the time ever comes to part ways with Chris Jones, we'll all know it. But that time is not now. So here's the big question for you. How do you see this playing out? Will the Chiefs restructure his deal and keep him long term? Will he retire in Kansas City? Or could something unexpected happen? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you want to keep Chris Jones in KC, hit that like button. Let's send a message loud and clear. If you're new here and love Chiefs content, subscribe now. We're breaking down every move, every trade, and every game all season long. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time, right here on Total Chiefs.